Welcome to the Beyond Average podcast, where we feature entrepreneurs who are building businesses that don't just grow, they scale, transfer, and create real value through the four intangible capitals. So I'm Kristin Carlson, and I'm excited to introduce today's guest, Carrie Garczynski, American Wine Society Director of Membership, National, and Regional Ambassador of Colorado, and then owner and wine consultant of Carried Away. So thank you for joining me today, Carrie.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So we would love to hear about your journey in the wine industry and your work and starting your company as Carried Away.
I'm originally from Wisconsin and we moved to Colorado about 10 years ago. I had worked in marketing and business development, and that is my forte. I absolutely love that aspect of business, working with people, getting people excited about a cause, a bit product, etc. And when I moved to Colorado, I did not have a job. So I just went eyeball deep into the wine industry and I started taking classes in wine from various schools. And I learned about the Denver chapter of the American Wine Society. So I joined that and started going to tastings and learned that it was a very educational event. They have Denver in particular does food and wine pairings, and they have wine sommeliers, masters of wine, etc. Wine professionals come in to talk about these wines and to pair them with dinners. And the restaurants in Denver are always phenomenal. So that was great. Well, then I started to learn a little bit more about the American Wine Society and learned that there was a national level that I did not really know about. So I got more involved in that, started learning more about that, and I ran for and was appointed as regional ambassador for Colorado for the American Wine Society. Then after a few years, the my predecessor was going to step down as director of membership, and he approached me and asked me if I was interested in this position. So I submitted my application for this and was voted in as director of membership. And I've been the director of membership now on the American Wine Society board for going on 6 years. This is actually my last year on the board, so I'm kind of waffling on what I want to do next. Opportunities are open. But I've also then I decided, that wasn't enough. I started a wine group in Denver, a blind wine group called Wining with Wisdom, where we meet monthly. We'll pick a grape or a region and we focus on that grape, analyzing it, etc. We all bring wines in and it's blind. I'm also the chairperson for a fine wine group here in Evergreen called Les Dégustateurs. So this has been 10 years, eyeball deep into the wine industry, and I'm excited to launch off on what else I can do. I created Carried Away, where I do wine tastings, wine pairings, wine consulting, but I'm tying that business aspect, the business development aspect into that, and I want to grow that more because I see so many opportunities of smaller wineries looking for marketing ideas. How do they get their name out there? How do they get their wine out there, etc. And working with individuals who are not necessarily, or wine consumers that are not necessarily very aware of certain wines out there. They know what they like and they stick with that, and wine can be very intimidating. So making wine more friendly, approachable, and not so intimidating, and for somebody over there, helping people
Mhm.
expand their palates. The American Wine Society is the America's largest wine consumer group in the United States, which I think is fantastic. We are predominantly a volunteer-run association, so we have two paid employees. So the entire board is volunteer. We are voted in, and we have various terms that we we can run for. So that's a lot of fun because we have a lot of people that are very passionate about wine that are stepping up. So we have chapters throughout the United States, and all those chapter chairs are volunteer, and it's run on passion and determination and drive. And then we have regional ambassadors also. And those individuals essentially are our walking, talking marketing billboards. They are phenomenal people. They help the chapter chairs, in addition to helping grow the American Wine Society and get us known even more so out there.
Right. So I'm sure there's a chapter in Naples where I'm at today. Do you know?
I would love to
Or
connect you
Florida.
with chapters, definitely.
Oh, that sounds awesome. And so for your wine consulting, are you looking for places in the Denver area or do you travel for that consulting?
I'm actually all over. My husband right now is based in Oregon, so I'm expanding out there. But otherwise, yes, I work throughout the United States, travel all over.
Okay, because I know in Florida we have so many neighborhoods, I'll call, or Gulf communities that love to have wine dinners. I don't know what the format is of your consulting. Like, do you work with like the chef and then try to create things, pair things with the wines that you want to highlight?
I basically talk with the individual as far as what he or she is looking for their particular event or party, and then go from there. And everything is unique and individualized specifically for what that person is looking for. Um, and then I offer suggestions on how we can maybe expand things a little bit. There's definitely a budget to work within, palettes to work within. But yeah, when I get a blank slate, that's the most fun. But I also want to let you know that with the American Wine Society, we do have an annual conference every year, and we have around 600 to 800 individuals that come to our conference. We have feature sessions throughout the 3, 4 days that we have this conference, and we have wine professionals from around the world that come in.
Wow.
I absolutely love this because I have tasted wines that I normally wouldn't be able to try. These speakers bring in these wines that are a limited edition or something that they have access to, et cetera, and they talk about these wines. So it opens doors not only to various wines to try, but also these wine professionals. And I call the American Wine Society a big wine family. So we're definitely open in communication and, sharing our bottles, sharing our glasses. So what I love is because of this family approach, if somebody on the East Coast is trying a wine and doing a tasting, we have that open flow of communication that somebody in the Midwest, West Coast, et cetera, can learn about these tastings, learn about these wines, and especially if they can get them shipped or visit that chapter, et cetera, but then bring those wines to that particular area and take them into a shop, a distributor, et cetera, to say, hey, I tried this wine over here in this state. I can't find it here. Can we maybe bring this in? So that's phenomenal. But being that you're in Naples, we are having our conference this year in late October in Jacksonville, Florida.
Ooh, very close. That sounds awesome. So could you just share what the mission of the Wine Society is?
Yes, we are a 501(c)(3) and education is our focus. So we
Okay.
are looking to educate wine consumers. We have such a variety of different members, all the way from perhaps not understanding a label, drinking the same wine every day, intimidated to ask questions, all the way to high-end sellers, individuals with
Okay.
high-end sellers. So it's a variety, but we focus on education and we take the intimidation out of that. We bring people in, we help them learn a little bit more about wines, expand their palate, etc. You have somebody that may say, I don't like Chardonnay, and you back up and ask, well, who was the producer of that Chardonnay? Where was that Chardonnay made? How was that Chardonnay made? Where was it grown, etc. Because if you've had one Chardonnay and you don't like that, there are a plethora
Right.
of other Chardonnays to try. And that's one of the things that I love about our members is we always have an open bottle and an empty glass ready to share.
Okay. That sounds amazing. And I'm one of those people that could definitely use some more education. I mean, I've been drinking wine for a long time, but still, I don't believe I have a discerning palate. I mean, have you learned that along your way, or have you always had a knack of knowing what you're drinking, or because I'm can we learn that is the question.
Absolutely. And
Okay.
that's one of the things that I think is so much fun. When I started out, I thought if I looked at a label and I couldn't understand it, that has to be a good wine. If I looked at the price and it was a higher end, high price wine, well, that must mean it's a good wine. Well, after learning a little bit more about the regions, the producers, even tasting different wines and learning all the different aromas and flavor profiles, you can really expand your palate and learn how to choose a wine based off of what you are looking for rather than just that, well, I think because this is in French and I can't understand it, it's got
It
to be a
must
good
be,
wine.
yeah,
Or
it must be
yeah,
good.
and
So,
it's that's one thing with what I do with Carried Away and the American Wine Society is we take that fear out of it. There is no stupid question. And honestly, our palates are different. And I love giving this example of if somebody grew up in the Midwest and they understand different flavors of maybe blackberries, raspberries, etc., freshly picked, wild, out of the woods, all the way to somebody down south who has a different there's a different culture of food down there. You're going to have different palates. So what you pull out of a wine might be a little bit different, and that's okay. Neither one is wrong because it's
okay.
based off of your palate. And that's what we try to work with individuals on is what are you tasting? It's okay.
Mhm.
Bring
Okay.
that out. My husband is one of those individuals who he'll drink wine with me and we'll go through different things, but he's a little intimidated when it comes to different wine groups because he's like, well, I'm not quite sure about these wines. And what if I say something stupid? I'm like, if somebody ever criticizes you for a wine, your profile, what you're tasting, etc., do not drink with that person. Drink with somebody who's friendly, who is willing to help you, who's willing to pour another glass for you, who's willing to help you experiment and expand your palate. If somebody's
Mhm.
going to criticize you and squash you, it takes the fun out of wine and don't bother.
There's a lot of fun in wine, right?
Yes,
So,
yes. And that's one of our values at the American Wine Society. And I call that out at every single conference that you have to be having fun. It has to be
right.
fun.
So has your wine experience, have you experienced the world trying wine or traveled a lot with it?
Absolutely.
Any favorites?
Um, oh, favorites would be like picking a favorite child.
Yeah.
And when I go to these different countries and different wineries, it's always I fall in love with that particular winery, that particular country, that particular region. I was in Australia a few years ago, and instead of going to the large producers, I went to the mom and pop shops. And I loved it because I was in the dirt with these winemakers. We were playing in the vineyards. We were learning about the trees, the aspect, how everything is grown, the soils that different grapes were grown in, etc. One of the examples that stands out is I was in Australia and there was a winemaker who showed us this beautiful eucalyptus tree. And the vineyards were all around this eucalyptus tree. And he said, well, there's a plot that I do not pick from right underneath that eucalyptus tree because those oils come down and they get on the grapes. Well, that will influence then the taste of the wine. But he continues to grow grapes there because he wants them to flourish, etc. He will not chop that tree down. He's losing money on these grapes, but he will
Wow.
not chop that tree down because he said that tree is older than him. It's been on earth longer than he has, and he has respect for the terroir, respect for the land. So
Wow.
that was fascinating.
Wow.
And this fall, I was just in Montalcino and I took a master Italian wine class and we toured around individually. I went with two women. We toured around on our own to do private tastings. And then we took this class where then we had more private tastings with this class. And we met with some of the top wine producers to try their Muscadello, which is an amazing sweet wine, and it's really hard to find in the United States. I'm hoping
Okay.
they can find a market, but yeah, it's everywhere I've gone, everybody has just been very friendly. and very open about talking about their wines, sharing their wines, talking about these production techniques. And once you get that a little bit of that education and you can start asking some of these questions, these people are so friendly and so open to sharing. So picking a favorite would be really hard.
Yeah. But it's fun to be a part of visiting those vintners and just their passion, right? It's a passion project more than making a lot of money, but you know, it's awesome. So if you were to give someone some advice about getting more involved in the American Wine Society, I mean, what would you say? Even to rookie wine drinkers.
I would say first thing is go to our website and contact the national office, contact the director of membership, and we can connect you with a chapter in your area. And if there's not a chapter in your area, we can help you start a chapter. I'm chair of the membership committee, and I've created numerous tools for individuals who want to start a chapters and for the current chapter chairs. But we've also started a chapter chair mentoring program where we have past and current chapter chairs who are willing to help individuals, whether they have a chapter now or they're looking to start a chapter, build what they're looking for. And if you have financial questions, if you want to have a board, if you don't want to have a board, you want a small group, you want a large group, we have those individuals who are willing to help. So our chapters all have their own culture. We, in the American Wine Society, we require that you have eight members minimum by the fiscal year. You have some component of education in your tasting, and we provide educational
I was
materials.
wondering.
So,
Yeah.
yep, you're not on your own. We help
Okay.
that, and we help you find speakers, etc. In addition to the regional ambassador is a huge resource, and that you meet at least 6 times a year. So we have very minimal requirements, but we're very supportive. And again, I just call this a big wine family that everybody's
Mhm.
willing to help out and make sure that your glass is not only full, but that you have extra bottles behind you so you feel this support.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Carrie. And you've really sparked my interest in figuring out what's in my area and how we can get involved because we are wine enthusiasts, but we do need a lot of education. So thank you so much and have a super day.
Thank you. You too. It was a pleasure.